What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Back at it again with another banger, my friends. Y'all know the vibes by now. Kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Four straight, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 straight Final Fours for those South Carolina Gamecocks. Don Staley and the gang and the group get it done again in a nail biter. Now, I told y'all in my live before this game that Duke plays this team extremely hard. They could match them in depth with bench scoring and defense. And this would be a low-scoring defensive battle. It would come down to execution, getting 50-50 balls, and making layups for both teams, man. All the credit to Duke. This was a close, hard-fought game, but there is no more battle-tested team in the nation than South Carolina. And say what you want about it being a little too close and they almost lost twice. Real winners know at the end of the day, it don't matter if you win by a point or a mile. A win is a win, and South Carolina continues to pass every test. They continue to take every team's best shot, and you just got to salute them, man. The name of the game is survive and advance. Shout out to Sanaya Fagan. Shout out to Chloe Kitts. Carried the load today. It had been Malaysia Fulwiley and Joyce Edwards for majority of the season. Both the underclassmen were held in check today. Down low, though, when they started getting it down low into the post, Sanaya Fagan continues to be that dominant force on both ends. Chloe Kitts, aggressive, got that dog mentality. This team just fights. They scraps. Shout out to Sanaya Fagan, too, on the last shot of the game. Had Ashlyn Jackson in ISO, bro. Contested the three that Ashlyn Jackson took to potentially win this game. And then Breezy Hall comes up with the rebound to seal the deal. Her defense was incredible. Her and Raven Johnson, seatbelt gang. When the team needed them to step up and get stops, they shut down Reagan Richardson, one of Duke's leading scorers. They shut down Ashlyn Jackson for the most part and made the perimeter scoring and the guards very uncomfortable for Duke, man. I just got to – it's things in the box score that players like Raven Johnson and Breezy Hall do that are going to go overlooked. They're not going to be appreciated because it doesn't resolve in an individual stat. But when you talk about leadership, poise, being able to make winning plays, being able to get stops and pressure the basketball and make good decisions with the basketball, getting others involved, these two players, all they have done since they got to South Carolina was win, man. And you have to commend that. Looking at the stats and the breakdown, South Carolina picked up the dub 54-40 in a dogfight that they had to come from behind and win. Now, neither team shot well, but South Carolina got it done with 43.2% shooting while holding Duke to a 31.7% overall shooting from the field. They went 3 of 8 from 3, shot 37.5%, held Duke to 5 3-pointers, and Duke came in scoring a lot of points. They had really found their offensive rhythm, and South Carolina made it really difficult for them. They also did a good job of getting to the free throw line, staying aggressive and getting those paint touches, finishing through contact at times. They shoot 13 of 20 from the free throw line. Duke only 7 of 13. Rough shooting day from the line, man, for both of them. Now, Duke actually dominated the glass 45-34. They got a lot of second chance rebounds and just couldn't quite finish, man. And that's a testament to South Carolina's defense contesting the first, second, and third opportunities that Duke got. Duke also had more assists, 5 blocks. South Carolina came up with 13 steals, forced 19 turnovers, and drew 18 fouls in this contest. Turnovers were a problem for both teams, but South Carolina really capitalized in transition. Like we mentioned, Chloe Kitts leads the way, 14 points, 4 rebounds, continuing to be the most consistent and reliable player on this roster. Sanaya Fagan was huge, 12 points, 3 assists, 8 rebounds. They fell down, and in that fourth quarter, they really made an effort, a conscious effort to throw the ball down low and let Sanaya Fagan really operate. They played through Fagan, and she delivered, being that dominant post presence that South Carolina has had year after year after year. Tahina Powell made some really tough shots down the stretch as well, man, including a huge floater that gave South Carolina the lead late in the fourth quarter. She finished with 9 points, 1 assist, 2 rebounds, really stepped up the defensive intensity as well. Raven Johnson, 7 points, 1 assist, 5 rebounds. She definitely was aggressive in space and transition, attacking the cup, and she was rewarded for it, man. Quiet night for Joyce Edwards. Tessa Johnson came up with some steals, played tough defense, but her, Malaysia Fool, Wiley, Joyce Edwards, not huge factors in this game, man. We still are waiting for tournament Tessa to make an appearance. Uncharacteristic game for Malaysia Fool Wiley, but they really relied on the upperclassmen. They really relied on the post presence to give them solid minutes and solid production, and it was enough, man. I just cannot commend Sanaya Fagan enough. Like, her journey, bro, staying there, sitting the bench behind first round draft picks, waiting her turn, trusting the process, continuing to develop her game in every aspect, and now she's one of the most complete players in the country, man. So salute to her for coming up big when her number was called. They really, and that's the thing about South Carolina. People say, oh, they got all these All-Americans, these McDonald's All-Americans, and all these scores, and they don't have a, go-to player and this and this and that. The scary thing about that is sometimes they can be too unselfish and they can pass up on good shots, and it seems like, there might not be a player that can get you 20 every single night. But on the other end of that, you never know whose night is going to be. Sanaya can step up. Chloe can step up. Malaysia can step up. Breezy Hall can step up. Joyce Edwards, Tessa Johnson. Like, all these players are capable of going off on any given night, and that's what makes it so difficult to really contend with South Carolina. And what we're seeing this run, 4 straight Final Fours, man, like, in this day and age with the portal, with NIL, the way that the season and the tournament has been so evenly divided with talent and teams who it feels like anybody could get beat on any given night, for them in this day and age to be going through 4 straight Final Fours, man, it's a testament of the program, the culture, the character that Dawn Staley builds, the character of the players that she recruits, and how this team just sacrifices night in and night out to win and put everything else to the side. Duke, though, man, Coach Carol Lawson is building something special. Toby Fournier is a superstar waiting to happen. She's going to be one of the best players in college basketball next season and the year after and the year after. She leads his team in scoring coming off the bench and came up huge for them today. Like, I really got to commend Duke's effort. I think her and Dawn Staley, Coach Lawson, are really cut from the same cloth. Toby Fournier off the bench had 18 points and 6 rebounds, stretched the floor with her three-point range, ran the floor well, rebounded the ball well, like, continued to follow her shot, played with great energy and efficiency, really just gave South Carolina all types of problem with her athletic ability and her length. I think something that really hurt them was Jada Donovan, one of their best defensive players, battled through foul trouble the whole time. Okinawa, I think she did a good job on Malaysia Fool Wiley. I tell you that, only holding her to 5 points, really. She had 6 points, 7 rebounds at the guard position to lead the team. I'm talking about 6th player of the year in the ACC and tournament MVP. Ashlyn Jackson, 13 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. Not her best game by any means, but she made some big shots to really keep them in this game. Reagan Richardson, 7 points, led this team in scoring last year, has been down this year. Tina Mayer handled the ball pretty well for this group, and I think, was efficient at the point guard spot for the most part. Raven was all over her too, though, whenever they got matched up. But it really came down to Ashlyn Jackson and Toby Fournier. Not much help elsewhere. Delaney Thomas played some tough minutes. They needed more from Reagan Richardson. They needed more from Okinawa. They needed more for Jaden Donovan, but she battled the foul trouble. But Duke, they're still a relatively young team. They're bringing in a good class next season. They could be in the running for a Tanaya Laxton to come in and replace Ashlyn Jackson. It could be really, really interesting for recruiting-wise in the portal what Duke could look like next year. But I definitely think that they will be a top 5 team. Coach Lawson is building her own special culture there and definitely getting a taste of what Dawn Staley's doing. They had South Carolina on the ropes. They did. Duke made plays when they had to. It just wasn't quite enough, man. But I commend them for a great game. Some people were saying they would blow them out by 30 or 20. I knew this was going to be a straight-up heavyweight prize fight. They went blow for blow with South Carolina, and to be honest, for me personally, I don't think this team has anything to hold their heads about. But South Carolina will advance, And, hey, man, they're playing really good basketball. They're tested. That's what all those non-conference games that you play ranked teams and then go through the SEC, those are what the games in November, December, January, February are preparing you for these games in March and heading into April. That's what they wanted to do, was to be battle tested. And so far, through this tournament, they've passed every test, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments. That is a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV, your host. This is the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, comment, like, share, and all that good stuff. Follow us on social media at Brandon Lee TV as well. Until next time, my people, we out.